Hi everyone, it's Lori with Pizazz Studios, and today I'm going to mix up my Color Art pigments into my pouring medium that I made in my last video. I wanted to show you how to do that. Okay, so from the last video we made our pouring medium out of Vivid Enamel and the Josanya Gloss Varnish. That's these two products right here. So we had our cup of pouring medium here. It's rather thick, like I showed in the last video. If you want to see how to make this, go back to the previous video to this one, and you can see that. All right, so we're going to take this. Basically, we have a 2-ounce cup here. You want to coat the bottom of your cup. I'm not going to put a ton in here, just enough to coat the bottom of the cup. That's about all you need. Now, of course, it depends on how much you're going to paint and everything like that. If you want more of this, then you can certainly make more of it. I'm making a small batch just to show you. This is my primary elements. This is one of their art pigments. This one is called Kiwi. It's really pretty. As you can see, this jar looks kind of blue, but the actual color is green. It's a very pretty green, but put a dot on the top of your jars. That way you can see it when it's wet. If you take a little bit of it after we mix it and put it on the top, it dries. That way you'll know what the actual color looks like after you've mixed it. Just a little tip for you. You want to take the cover off gently. You don't want this powder going everywhere. You want to take just a bit of this. Maybe these little spoons come with your pigments when you buy them from Color Art. I'll list their website down below, but it's colorart.com. I take about 3/4 of a spoonful and I put that in here. Right on top of that. Okay, so that's all set. Now we're done with the pigments, with the, put the powder away, put the cover on it, put it aside so you don't knock it over or spill it or whatever like I might do. So we will put that back. All right, so we have a cup here now with our pouring medium and a scoop of your pigments. Go ahead and just wet this. You want to make sure it's all worked in. You don't want to go fast. You want to go slow, wet all this. You don't want the powder flying all over the place. You don't want to be breathing all that powder in. You want to mix it really slow. Get it all wet and covered. You don't want it to be dry. You don't want any dry powder left. That's the object of this part. Okay, so mix it in. Get all the sides. Get the bottom very well. Once it's all covered and wet and you have no more dry powder, you can mix, obviously a little faster. You don't need to go really slow. Just at the beginning when you have that loose powder, because you don't want it flying around. Okay, so that's mixed very well. Make sure you get all the sides, like I said, in the bottom, okay? Mix that in. Now we're going to take some more pouring medium. I'm going to put some on top. Let me get this. I'll stick out of the way so you can see. So what I'm going to do, since I don't measure this, basically I coat the bottom of the cup and then I coat the top of the color. Basically cover it. This is how I do it. Very easy, very simple. It doesn't have to be exact. Your pouring medium's already made, so you're just mixing in your color, okay? You're not really worrying too much about the consistency because your consistency is already done in your pouring medium. Go ahead and mix this in very well. You want to make sure everything's mixed good. Get all the stuff off the sides. Get all the color, all your pouring medium down off the sides and off the bottom. Mix it all really good. And that'll be that. It's really that simple. That's all there is to it. It's a pretty color. This one, like I said, is called Kiwi. I like this color. It's a bright green. All right, so that's pretty good. That's mixed, and that's that. You want to just take a cover. Make sure you store these in airtight containers, okay? Some people mix their paints, or I'm sorry, their pigments and or their paints with the pouring medium and let it sit a day before they use them. Some people don't. The way I understand it is that if you use them the same day you're mixing them, you're more likely to have a lot of air bubbles. Which kind of makes sense. So if you let it sit a day and then use it, you'll have less air bubbles, hopefully no air bubbles. So then what I do is I just take a Sharpie and I write on the top what this is. So this was Kiwi. You can write primary elements or PE or whatever you want to do so that you know what's in this cup when you go to use it. And then I set them aside, and that's it. So I guess while I'm here and we're at this, let's go ahead and do a tube paint. So I have to get another cup. I have a tube paint here. This one is Amsterdam Ultramarine Blue. So I'm going to use this. I have it here on my table. This I don't measure either. Honestly, just put, let's see. I don't know. I'm going to show you. Like that. Not a ton. It's about all you need. Okay? So the two paints are going to be thicker. Since those were just a powder, you're just mixing it in with your pouring medium, very simple. This is a tube paint, which is going to be a little bit on the thicker side. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your Josanya gloss varnish, because this is thin. So in the last video, I kind of explained how this is your thick and this is your thin, and this is two together that make the pouring medium. So when you're doing a tube paint, which are thicker, you're going to mix your tube paint with some of this, because this is thin and this will make it the right consistency that you need. So go ahead, put that in your cup, take some of this. Basically what you're going to do, I'm not measuring, you're just going to kind of put a little bit in. And you just wipe this off. Mix this up. Obviously going to need more than that. Basically, I think what I would do is I would cover your paint with the varnish, kind of how we covered the, you know, the last one, the primary element pigments, when I covered it with the pouring medium, kind of like that. So you just put some tube paint in the cup and cover it with the Josanya varnish. Or, as I explained in my last video, some people will use polyacrylic instead of Josanya. You do the same thing if you're using polyacrylic. instead of Josanya. You're not using both. Remember, it's one or the other. So this is super, super thick still. So see how thick this is? It doesn't even fall off the stick. Way too thick, right? So we're gonna add some more. And stir again. Like I said, you want to mix it until you get to the same consistency as your pouring medium. If you want to compare consistency with your paint to your pouring medium, don't pour your pouring medium into a squeeze bottle until after you've got your paint made, so that you can compare them, because once it's in a bottle you can't compare it very well. If you're just starting out, you're going to want to probably keep it in your cup with a stir stick and stir them. Put them next to each other. Figure out if they're the same consistency that way. Because if you're just guessing, chances are you might be off. So, some tube paints are thicker than others. So it's still, as you can see, oops, sorry, I just bumped the phone. Still really, really thick. It barely wants to come off the stick, so we need to add a lot more of this. So I'll get this going here. We'll be here all day, right? Although I wouldn't mind spending all day with you. I'm sure you have other things to do. Go mix your paints. All right, so we're getting there. Okay, so this is flowing off the stick, but still too thick. See? I'm hoping you can see this. It's a dark color paint too. Maybe I should have used a lighter one, but hopefully you can see it. It's close. It's getting there, because this is the pouring medium. See, it's thick, but it flows really nice. So that's the consistency we're trying to get to. And of course, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to change this stick. I prefer the bigger stick. These are like more like tongue depressors instead of those little craft sticks. Those things are so tiny. I have a hard time working with them. I find these much easier. This gloss varnish has a bit of a smell to it, so you can go ahead and open a window or put on your air cleaner if it bothers you or whatever, you know. Keep ventilation important. All right, let's see how this looks. Ah, there we go. See? Still thick. It runs right off. It leaves a mound, but the mound disappears. That's that. And again, this is this. Okay, so I do not know, like I said, how much varnish that is, but go a little bit at a time. You don't want to overdo it at first. If you find that this is too runny, add a little more paint to thicken it up. If you find that it's still too thick, like I was, keep adding more varnish or polyacrylic, whichever one you're using. Okay, so that's all set. Now what you want to do is you're going to take some of your pouring medium and you're going to put it right on top of this. Kind of like we did with the Color Art pigments. I'm basically going to take this and put it right over the top like I did before. I kind of just cover the top of the color. Like I said, I don't measure it. I'm sorry, I don't have an exact measurement. But you don't need one. This is already mixed to the right consistency. because I mixed it to the same consistency as the pouring medium. So if they're the same consistency and you're just mixing them together, there isn't really anything to worry about with how much you add. Obviously, your pouring medium may change this a bit. You know, I mean, that's kind of white. So this does lighten the paint a bit. See, this blue is not as dark as it was a moment ago. But that's normal. That's the way it should be. Okay, so that's mixed in. I'm gonna leave it just like that. If you can see, this was the tube paint and this is the mixed with the pouring medium. So you can see it got a little lighter. You can see the consistency is still the same on the thick side, but flows nicely. Has a mound in the cup there when it hits the paint, but it does disappear. And that's that. So that's a good amount. I mean, it's a good amount of paint to play with, so go ahead and mix it up that way. Okay, and then I just cover it up. I label the cup with whatever color is in it so that I know when I go to use it. And that's that. All right, so if you guys enjoyed this video, I hope it was helpful for you. Go ahead and please hit that like button, and if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that too. It helps me out on YouTube. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments section, and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much and enjoy your day. Happy painting.